Welcome to a special episode of the Afikra podcast in collaboration with Manarat Al Saadiyat. This conversation is the second in a series that we've done all about Arab animation. It is part of a conference that's happening on December 11th and 12th in Abu Dhabi at Manarat Al Saadiyat, entitled Mass Mash from Japan to the Arab World. It's all about the relationship between Arab animation and its relationship to sort of Japanese animation and where we are today. This is the second conversation we have, and it is with Rashid Al Rahmani from AC Comics. He's the founder of AC Comics, which we will talk all about today. Welcome, Rashid, to the podcast.
Thank you very much for giving me the time of a day. Looking forward to discussing many things that we are planning to do. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So let me ask you a question. I'll ask you the first question. What does AC Comics mean? We have it on the screen in Arabic, but if somebody's just seeing the logo, why the name AC Comics?
Wallahi, we divided, if you can see there, the name is split. If you can see the black slashes, there are three of them. So AC Comics meant for us, it is Arab action and adventure. So there are triple effect to it. And C is comics, comedy, and crime. Because we are focusing,
Cool.
So we kind of focusing on everything, and from start to finish,
Yeah.
So this is what the logo is about.
Amazing. But at its core, the idea is Arab comics, right? Comics from the Arab world in Arabic that represent the region.
Exactly. It is something that represents the region, as well as represent our values, our way of looking at things. At the same time, we are also focusing mainly on doing what do you call it, is more action-driven, sci-fi, adventure, horror. So we are focusing on these genres, basically.
You know, it's so funny when somebody thinks about comics. I don't know if it's the same for kids, teenagers and kids now, but when I think about comics, I think about like literal like paper comics that you would buy at like the grocery store or at the comics store and actually flip through them. Was that the initial intent from the very beginning?
Yes, exactly. We have a lot of fans looking to have their own version of the comics. I have created a lot of the characters that you can see today. The idea was for me, we have to be loyal to our to our fan base. You have to have a comic. People love to flip through the comic. I know that I can. We are having as a stage 2, it's turning to a digital version of it as well, as everyone else is doing, because we want also to support the environment. But the feel of it, of having actually a comic that you can flip through and go over and over, just the traditional way of doing stuff. So that was one of the objectives that we had in mind.
So if I pick up a copy of an AC comic, tell me what I should expect. I mean, are they serial? Are there specific series? Are they one-off stories? Are they for a specific age group? What are the themes? Give me an example of what I can expect.
Yes. Okay. We basically, what we decided is create a full content. So this content will be divided to, we'll take, for example, Sharar's world. So Sharar, everything starts with Sharara, a spark. So to spark our universe, we started with the first character, with our first main character, who has actually gravity control power. So it's something that is different a little bit from what you have. What we had in mind is just to diversify. So we are launching a series for the kids, which is it's like picture books, activity books, and then we are doing something for the younger, an older a bit audience, around like 7+, which have like the Sarah, Team One, and the animation TV shows that are related to. And then for the adults, we are breaking this universe into few things. We have horror stories with Sarah, Detective Sarah, which I would love to share also in a later stage. Yes, this is it. So also we have for the young adults, we are planning a TV show with the streaming service also. It is a mini series that we are currently working on. Yeah.
Amazing. So let me get this straight. So at a single time, AC Comics is doing a bunch of different things. You guys are publishing books, you're creating digital content, you are developing TV shows, creating other publishing stuff. Like, what does the actual staff look like? Like, how are you guys producing this stuff as a creative entity?
Now, that was very challenging from the beginning. We don't have that much talent over here. I went everywhere as far as I can go, yani, into yani, not exhibition per se. We always attend exhibitions, but trying to get local and Arabic talents, which is not that much. And they are specifically like, we do the Western style more or less. And we are having also people doing the like more towards manga kind of artwork and design and illustrations. So actually, I took it upon myself and the team to actually contract more than 40 artists around the world. So we have artists from North America, South America, Europe, a lot of some of the areas in the Middle East. And also we have artists like from the Far East also. So we have 45 artists. We have artists that they are currently working with the big names like DC and Marvel. And we are having artists, in different divisions and different genres, working with some other American comics. Also, we got into mecha design. So we have mecha artists and mecha consultant for a project we call The Challenger. I can share that with you as well. It's actually, it was supposed to be a TV show, but now it is, as of yesterday, it is turning to a TV. It's a theoretical release, actually, movie. So
wow, really?
we are
like
we fixed that to get the approval. What?
Wow, it's like a feature. It's a feature.
Yeah. It
wow.
will be. Yeah, it is 7+. We have a backing of 2 big studios with us, as well as we have 2 groups of animators that are also internationally known that we always deal with, and we have contracted. Yeah. So it was for us more toward getting the base right, getting the pillars right, doing the right foundation, so we can build on it. Yeah. We have a lot. I think we have a lot to offer. Yeah.
Well, listen, here's a question. If there's if the idea is creating comics from the Arab world, there's a challenge that you're facing, right? A natural challenge you're facing. You're bringing talent and artists from all over the world, but you're trying to tell stories from here. How do you strike that balance? How do you have these be homegrown stories, homegrown art, homegrown comics, while also sort of naturally living in a globalized world where you're bringing artists from all over the place?
Actually, we adapted the Japanese style. You know about the Japanese style? I think I told you
about it.
So basically, in the late, like around 1920, the Americans were really advanced in doing animations. They were really advanced, and they were working also. The comic, it was at the biggest like comic strips at that time. Also, they were developing that. So that was in progress. Like 10 years, 1 decade later with this, the Japanese, you can see they started like, okay, looking into that. Later on, Japan became like, with the enemy and everything, they became #1. Yeah. They knew how to really strike good stories. So if you can look at the Japanese and the way they did it, and the advancement and the leaps that they made, it was basically making their stories international. It's not localized, it's international stories. And then from there, grabbing, like even they have like produce many of the great novels and books, if you can see. It is their own production. It's all, it's nothing to do with the Japanese actually heritage or culture.
Yeah.
They made a lot of productions. It looked international. It looked amazing. It told a good story. It had heartfelt moments, let's say. And from there, they just transferred this to their culture. Now, today, if you can see, the comic world and the Western style has about 2 billion people, fans, let's say. But the Japanese themselves, with their anime, they have 1 billion. So the market is about 3 billion for everything. So they have 1/3 of that.
Yeah.
So this is something that is good. And for us, we are telling sci-fi stories, mainly action stories, adventure stories, and it's a made-up, universe. So it has to match also the same. Otherwise, you'll do something that is really different, and people might or might not like it. But we are proposing the same action that you would have anywhere else. But it will be our universe. It will be our values shown. It will be our heritage. For us, for example, if you go have a cup of coffee, we have finjan of coffee. We don't have a cup of coffee in our universe. No one has that. It is just for us. It is just the way. So we are actually putting this out there, that it is, everything will be, based on us. Futuristic looking, yes. Action, adventure, horror, yes. Crime and sci-fi, yes. But still we'll have that. And then we are producing in a later stage that is a full Arabic 100% content. That is not only international, 100% localized, 100% all Arabic.
Yeah. Who are your readers? I mean, are they primarily from the GCC, or are they across the world?
Now we have launched two comics. One comic, and so far we have launched one comic. It's Team One. It's actually based on our TV show. It's a mini comic, and we are doing kids so far. So by 2023 February, we are releasing our main comics, which is called Aftermath. I can show you a copy of it. It is actually almost ready.
Yes, please.
You can see it. Yeah. So we are releasing the comics in Arabic and English. Also, we are releasing, we'll continue releasing kids title, as you can see, activity books, as you can see. So all of this actually is will be released very soon in the market. We are ready to release. We are a publishing company as well. So we wanted to hit everything, creating characters, creating stories, creating great stories, a story that's something that you want to watch and enjoy as well. It doesn't have one dimension to look at, it has all the dimensions. And I think from what we have so far, we can easily do 1 decade of new stories that are based on our writers, ideas and creativity. The team is so far is local team, is an Emirati team. Our writers are our writers. They are not like part-time. No, it's our writers. I built the team from the beginning. At that time, they were like about 24 years old, 25 years old. Now everyone is 30. Everyone has kids, and everyone has a good pitch to say, to give us. So they grew, and we have new stories also to tell through them. So part 1 from my side is done, building the foundation. Part 2 and 3 is coming. Hopefully people would love it. We do digital, also short animation. From time to time, we release something that we think is valid, and it has to be a well thought of idea. It has to mean something. It has to represent us as Arabs. It has to represent us as, as this part of the world. And you can see through the animation that we have created so far, it is tackling this. I always love to have new writers, new Arab writers. I always love to have new character designers, Arabs, illustrators that are Arabs, to continue building the foundation. Because without us being together from this part of the world, I don't think we'll be able to match the East and the West production.
Some of the most powerful comics, both from the US as well as Japan and elsewhere, they're powerful and they resonate because of social commentary, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And so, like I'm looking at this behind the scenes YouTube video that shows the main character. This is Shut Out, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So the main character Shut Out, he's sort of like exploring Dubai, right? And there are subtle tips. You see the tower in the background. There's subtle tips to suggest that this isn't your metropolis. This isn't
Yes.
some other random city. This is actually based in the Emirates. This is based here. And there's
Yes.
subtle hints. But when you look back at those original stories, both like in the DC universe, Marvel, and the Ghibli, like regardless, there's social commentaries. They're talking about racism, or they're talking about class structures, and they're talking about things like that. What are some of the main social issues that you're trying to tackle suddenly through your comics?
Actually, we are tackling few things. First of all, is the creativity. So we want to show always that we are creative in what we do as Arabs. يعني we mainly know that we can do more than what is required. People just, if we have a chance, we are very creative beings, and we can actually match what the East and the West have. They don't have 2 heads and 4 arms, and we have like 2 arms and 1 head. We can match that, can't we? We can do better even in many fields. I want to be able to talk about the stuff that matters to us as Arabs. I want to talk about good stories that doesn't have an agenda. I don't want agenda. I don't want stuff that are not related to us. I want to show us as we are progressing in animation and storytelling, because most of their stories that you are relating to, Mikey, most of these stories are ours. Take your pick from Disney. Take your pick from anywhere else. It's all based on stories that were written, many of them. I'm talking about even blockbusters that they produce. Sure. Yeah, it is based on ours. So we don't need to show them anything. We know what we are capable of. We know our stories. We can depict from the stories that we have, millions of stories throughout the year, from the time that people started writing stories. I'm not talking about even writing, telling stories. We have a lot in these stories to tell. We have a lot of pride in us. We have a lot of strength of us in us. Yeah, we have a lot of things to say. We don't focus on one thing. We focus on everything. We are strong individuals. We are strong as a crowd. It is not about me and you. It's about everyone. It is about all Arabia. So for us, we don't need to show. We need to show people that these stories that we have can be put in a good content and can be shown and can bring people together. Not only Arabia, everyone else, because our stories are deep, are not like are superficial, just on the highlight, just show them some action driven or show them something. No, it is everything. That's why we made sure that even when we create characters, I'll give you an example. Hadif. Now Hadif is the closest thing that you can have to an international cross country, we can say, character. Hadif, so in his story, he's 17 years old, something happens, he goes to Japan 1612, and he's the guy there at the back. So this guy becomes a full-fledged ninja, and he comes back. So he has the heritage, he has the know-how. We are introducing actually Japanese culture through him with the Arabic culture. So there is a story, there is a comic that will be released. It says 10 years in Japan, which is his first 10 years from 17 to 27. Then he comes back. He's the underdog in the story, but his stories are very big and are very good. He eventually becomes a very strong character in the universe, in his universe. His name changes even to something that is different, that shows his capability. He has all the Arabian kind of you can see Arabia in him.
Yeah.
And in the way he loves humanity, and the way he treats. He has a tiger, so he has a tiger, and the way he works with everyone, everything. He's a swordsman as well. He's a ninja as well. He's the owner of a restaurant that actually makes new kind of foodie. He's a foodie as well. Yeah, and he has a lot of things to offer. Yeah. He loves football as well. So we all do that, and he somehow he represents us. Yeah. In this universe, more than any other character.
So I feel like Rashid, I feel like if you were to choose one of your characters who is like secretly you, it's him.
Might be.
The passion with which you're speaking about him, clearly you're the one who went to Japan and learned the art and came back and is introducing the culture.
By the way, Mikey, Hadif, the artist himself, is the same artist of DC Comics Batman. So we have all these contracts laid out. So it's the same artist that we sat down, and first of all, we create the full character with the background, the references.
Yeah.
And we make sure that his story is complete, and then we discuss it with the artist, and then we start creating the character. We go with everything, with the eye color, with the way he's wearing stuff, with the design and everything. We make sure that everything is intact, yeah, end to end, yeah. And then we discuss the character development.
Yeah. You know, there's an aspect of life that doesn't show up in media that much. Like we think about it, just if you'll humor me, like I mean, I speak to people all day, every day through afikra, and we're all about reshaping the narrative about the Arab world. But we're very, very clear and intentional about saying the histories and cultures of the Arab world as opposed to Arab histories and cultures, because the Arab world is super diverse, and the types of people who contribute to the culture and the history here don't always associate with being Arab. For many number of reasons. Maybe they are Armenian Lebanese, maybe they are Amazigh, maybe they're Pakistani and they live in Sharjah, for many, many, many different reasons. And they all sometimes live for generations.
Yes.
I wonder how can we begin to introduce and tell these types of stories, because these types of stories are so important, and they are huge. They're a huge part of daily life in the Arab world. There are so many people who live here for generations, for decades, definitely, but often for generations, who make up our quote unquote our story because they are part of the we. They are part of who we are.
Exactly.
How can we begin to introduce those types of stories so that when a kid growing up in Dubai, for example, reads a comic book about Dubai, they also see their stories about, you know, like somebody from Bangladesh who's here and has been here for 20, 30, 40 years, you know? I wonder.
Well, we need to work on that. It is part of the diverse content that we require to adapt. For us,
for sure.
Going internationally, looking internationally at the beginning, introducing new concepts, and then doing it locally and within the north that we can see is important, because otherwise we'll create something that might not be appealing to people. People, they have a standard that they are looking at for the time being. We are looking into this. When you're introducing something that is different, usually sometimes it doesn't pick up because you don't have the tools to make it work. But if you do, you match what they have, but with better stories, more diversified, and different genres, that can work. Because now, in the Arab world, as far as I know, there is nothing that is compatible of, you know, on what they have actually. This is people just taking, but not creating something that is, you know, is more toward whatever we want to see, whatever stories that we want to talk about, whatever, yani, the culture itself that we want to bring, yani. Because we can say to these ideas, they have a lot of ideas coming from the East and the West that is not ours, not related to us, and we are not really interested in knowing about it. It is embedded in their culture. It's not in ours. So we want to do that, discounting this factor also as well. And focusing on the ideas that we have, the heritage that we carry, and the other stuff that we have in mind to bring forward, yani, to the audience, to the fans, to the Arabic fans, and shout out to them, yani, all of them, yani. We hope that we are up to what you want us to be, yani, and more, hopefully in the future, yani. So this is part of it. Yeah.
It's amazing. Let me ask you a question about reception. What has the reception been like? You know, you guys have been around, as you said, you know, for you've transformed from 20-year-olds into 30-year-olds. You've built families. It's been quite some time. So, what has the reception been over these years from readers and viewers?
We launched our projects now. That was in Dubai International Content Market. This is the first time we officially launched our project. We launched the brand.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so we were doing all of this, was just doing the right homework, so we are in the right place. So creating a content, see, the issue is with content, and everyone suffers from that. You just do partial content, and then you expect that content that might pick up or people would love it, and you do it for a certain age group, and that also can be yes and can be no in terms of how you are going to work with this. Maybe they don't like it, and then what's the alternative? Is it feasible commercially? Would it work? How would you do all of this? So we took the time to create the stories. Actually, for me, I wrote the novel A Spark from the Red Planet. So we have the rights for everything. So later on, no one will come and tell me that, okay, these stories are copied. No, nothing is copied. This is a book that came out, and it has the right, it has the idea, it is the basis for every other stories that we are going to tell. It has the characters, it has the, you know, everything that to do with that universe. And creating the content from there, because you have the right reserve, so you have no issue with that. Registering all the IPs that you have, and making sure that you do it correctly. I can come up with 2-3 characters, but that will not be enough. We need to come up with a multiverse. We need to come up with different stories. We have Sharar and his universe, right? And the people around him. Then we have the Challenger. So this is a new story that we've been working since last year. Very good story. You would love it, even if I share some of the design that we come up. Also, the movies based on the Challenger. It's not based on Sharar. Is just a TV show that we are coming up with now. And we have the Sky Falcon, Saqr al-Sama. So this is also another story. It is a mixture between if you have Terminator, and if you have Top Gun, and if you have it's like robots. So all of this, a mix between that, all like sci-fi related. And we are producing all these diversions. Why? Because we understood from the beginning, let it take time. Let's get the people that can work on this. Let's learn how to do cosplay. Let's learn how to do sculptures. Let's learn how to do 3D models. Let's get the steps correctly to do the animation. I never knew animation before that. I learned that, and then I started directing the animation that we are producing now. From zero to none, from writing the storyboard and the story itself, all the way to producing the piece itself, and put it in social media for people to see. We are involved with the storytelling, even the TV episode. We write the full story, and it goes to become eventually like a full TV show. Yeah. So we learned that. I got the group that comes with me that learn that as well. Although they are good at writing, but they need to go through the process of that as well.
So if we're speaking,
to know everything end to end, otherwise,
if we're speaking in 10 years, okay, let's say I run into you at the airport, okay, we're sitting in the airport, we're in the line at immigration, okay, and I'm like, Rashid, wow, how's it going? What are you working on these days? What do you hope is the answer?
Wallahi,
in 10 years?
I know from there, inshallah, God willing, yani, it will be, we are working on more TV shows for preschoolers, something that is educational, edutainment. And for the young adults, we are giving them a good stories in sci-fi, crime, action adventure kind of thing. And for the people in the middle, we give them some adventure stories that are more or less what they want to see on TV. And the whole thing is about entertaining people and giving them a good entertainment that they can always remember and stories that they can relate to. And especially, you can go today and watch a movie or watch a TV show, but there is always that moment in that TV show that can stuck, like, like what they say, like living rent free in your head kind of thing.
Yeah.
For the rest of your life. I want to create that moment.
Yeah. What do you, for a regular person who's just watching it is not familiar with the industry, I feel like they may look at what you're doing and say, oh, you're trying to create the Marvel of the Arab world. And you're developing all this IP so that there are Netflix shows that come out of AC Comics, and there are movies, and that there's all this different IP-based stuff. Is that kind of the idea? Yeah,
it has somewhat, yes. It has to be this way. But what we have differently from them is basically whatever we want, we are producing. It will be dedicated to us, to the Arab world, and at the same time, it will be depicted from great stories that we all know about. Not now, in the future, it will be created from the great stories that we know about. It will be very educational, it will be very entertaining, and it will be for the small and for the old. Everyone will enjoy that. Yeah. So this is something that we want to do, Sarah, and we want to also not do that commercially, and this it will be about income generating and how much did you make and the return of investment. No, we want to create actually the new generation to help, not to create. It's just a big word, to create, to help and support and get support from the new generation to have a home for the artists, for the thinkers, for the people that think that they can bring new stories, good stories, something that means something to all of us, internationally, locally, it doesn't matter, but something for all of us. That they need to have a base. They need to have someone that they come with the talent to show them, to show them the way, to teach them, to make them understand that you need to get this story, you need that breakdown to do. These are the steps. These are to show them around. This, when they learn, they will be very good at what they do, and they will have always a home with us. Yeah, we all grow together. Yeah, it is something for all of us, not just that.
Amazing. Let me ask you a question before we do the rapid fire question. What are you excited about for the conference, for the Mass Mash conference?
Actually, mainly to show that we are here. We are a new brand. We are just launching. We did our homework, and we hope that they like what we have. And then also we are introducing our teaser of the TV show, when we hope that they like that as well. And then we want, eventually, if we have talent, if we see talent, we are going to seek that talent that we see in front of us.
Amazing. So if anyone's interested in attending, it's going to be on December 11th and 12th this weekend in Abu Dhabi. You can go over to the Manarat Al Saadiyat website or Instagram account for details. We will also share it on our Instagram social media. So let's do the rapid fire questions, and then we will wrap up. So first question is, what are you reading or watching these days?
Wallahi, we are reading a lot of new scripts coming to us. A lot of new stories that it is under development with the guys. So this is mainly also a lot of legal paperwork. This is what we are doing,
for sure,
because we are finished finalizing some IPs. So this is like hands-on experience.
Did you have a favorite comic growing up?
Wallahi, I had few. Growing up, since I was like 6 years old, I got the Majid comics, which I used to love. And it was like a year older than me, so I'm 1979. It was 19 I think, is it the same year? Or I think it was like within the same year.
Yeah,
or the
78 or 79. Yeah.
78, I think, yes. And Basim, the Saudi version of it, okay, they had also their own. That was good. Their comic was big, like, you know, you have to go through through that comics. I used to like it. The artwork was amazing as well. I used to look for Fuduli every time in Majid, and then we went from there to the Mickey Mouse one from Disney, and we went also Uncle Scrooge. That was a big thing at that time.
Sure, of course, yeah.
Daffy Duck, like some of Warner Brothers short comics. Spider-Man was like all-time favorite. So
Amazing.
I used to read that, and the Hulk, Superman, Batman from DC and Marvel. I used to like this as well. Yeah, and I used to read a lot of short novels, long novels. So that was that, yeah. So I used to love this kind of thing, especially when thriller or action-packed or like a crime. Or, I loved always, or a horror. Yeah. I love always these genres. Yeah.
Amazing. Who would you love to shadow for a day, past or present? Who would you love to spend a day with?
Living or dead?
Anytime, past or present.
Wallahi, my father. My father.
Amazing.
My father passed away three months ago. So
I'm so
he
sorry
was like, for me, he was the greatest man I know. So yeah, always taught us to do the right thing. Yeah. Always very big support to us, yeah, and also in this, yeah, what we are doing. Yeah.
Amazing, amazing, beautiful. What do people most misunderstand about your work? Like maybe your friends and family, what do they misunderstand about what you do?
They don't quietly get it. Yeah, I mean, when I'm working on stuff and people are in the office, if I have someone over coming, like one of my friends, and they will, like, we are working on initial sketch, or we are working on animatics for the animation itself, and it looks very funny at the beginning, just a bunch of sketches moving around. And they think we waste our time doing that. It's always fun. We just do that for life. It's just we just started doing the animatics, and we just moved from storyboard to animatics. Yeah. So it seems like we are doing just like our experience is just evolving around like doing some sketches, even when we do characters as well. Yeah, we are just revising something and redoing something. It looks very funny, and you can see like they are laughing because they think whatever we are producing is something that is like, although it looks like very premature, from that side, but it looks very funny that we are interested in something that people would love to see, something that is complete. So it's when their initial stages, it looks very funny that it is not. We are working that hard for something that doesn't look complete, and it looks barely designed. It's very funny. Even in creating stories, also they are, they don't get the story itself at the beginning stages. Then when we show it as an animation, then it's all clear for them. Yeah. But I have my kids. I have two kids. They're very small. Yeah, they are my. I have actually the smallest kids. So I have other like they are older. But these kids, they every day they would ask, "What did you do more today? We want to see. What can we do? Can we write some stories with you?" And they do write stories, by the way. They take their time to write some stories, and this is something good. I always wanted to share that with other kids. Like we can create that, we can do that, we can embrace talents, even if you just want to hang around just to see. You have no issue giving people tools.
Outside of the world of comics, who gives you inspiration? Where do you get inspired for these stories?
Well, daily life is something, but reading a lot of stories as well is something else. Having principle and stuff, also being taught, from the experience that you have in life, from the the literature that you read, from the people that you know, from specific thing that happened, from movies, from TV shows, from listening to people like, when Mike, me and you are talking. I remember one of the kids came to me once. He says, well, why you, like, when you wrote this Sharar, I read through it, but يعني, you just wrote that novel, and then this guy who has this capabilities was came out of nowhere, wants to go home, and then he has to fight evil, but he has nothing to do with that. He just wants to go home. And then he fights, and then something happens, and then like to the end of the story. And he says, then why won't you put a spin on that? So I'm talking about someone who's 8 years old. So I said, and he did not actually read it. He just, I think if I'm not mistaken, he did not read it. He heard it from someone that read or understood that part of it. Yeah. He said, if you get the main character and you do a spin-off, and this is 8 years old kid, and you add these elements, wouldn't that also be a good story? I said, no. Yeah, I think either it was one of my, I don't think it was one of my kids, like one of my nephews maybe. I said, it does not make sense, Yani. I said, I look into it, but it doesn't make sense. I could not sleep at night. I started thinking about it. Why would it make sense? In 2 hours, at like around 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock, it did make sense. It did really make a lot of sense. Why not? It adds actually a lot of value in the story, and you can focus on the main, on the big elephant in the room. You can address that actually in the story. Yeah. So this is something that you would never expect, to have. But it is there. Yeah.
Amazing. Okay. Well, anyone who's interested in these comics and connecting with you, you can find AC Comics on Instagram, ACCOMICS.AE. It's easy to find. And if you're interested in coming by the conference, it's taking place on this weekend, December 11th and 12th at Manarat Saadiyat in Abu Dhabi. We're going to be sharing more information about that as well. Rashid, thank you so much for making time to talk to us. It was really a pleasure being able to nerd out about some comics together.
Thank you. Thank you.